Oh, I'm tired.
Yeah, I'm exhausted.
What a weekend. All right. Here we are back for episode 2. You had a band reunion.
I had a band reunion. Yeah.
And I had a conference.
Yeah, so a band that I started in maybe 2000, 2001. And we went through 2005. I think we did some shows in 2009. And it was a band that we started and got signed and released a record on a major label and had a minor hit single and toured around US and Canada and a little bit of Mexico. And anyway, we hadn't played together in none of us since 2009, and the group of guys that made it out this weekend since 2005. So
Wow.
Yeah, because Bill didn't do 2009.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, band reunion weekend. We just got together and jammed in the studio. And
So let's see what. I know you were you had some complex feelings leading up to this, and it seemed to me like it went way better than you were maybe expecting.
It went way better than I was expecting.
I mean, I don't know how much you want to say.
I knew emotionally it would be fine. Like we weren't gonna get in fights or anything.
Just you guys were hating each other by the end of the tour.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Bands tend to do that. Yeah, we had a lot of complex stuff. I mean, we went through we were talking over drinks Saturday after you left. It's like we were all survivors of a 3 or 4 year long plane crash.
Oh.
And like this bond that you'll always have with people, if you survive something like a plane crash, you're always going to have this deep bond with the other people that went through this traumatic experience with you. And we went through basically like a 3 or 4 year long plane crash where we were just
talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess.
I mean, there's been tons of stories, but I mean, people, the 2 or 3 people listening haven't heard the story.
I know. No. And by the way, thank you, both of you.
No, but seriously, like, I was actually surprised how many people listened to our first one and reached out to say they liked it. So thank you so much.
Surprised and touched, yeah.
I mean, I didn't really expect anyone to listen to it. So, so thank you. And some great ideas for future topics as well.
To answer your question, what was... I mean, there are a million things that were traumatic about it, but a lot of it was just the constant roller coaster of... starting out and doing a few things, and then you get your first, it's the old days, so you get your first song on the radio. I mean, this wasn't the first band that I had songs on the radio, but with this band, we got our first songs on the radio, and then the radio people are mad at you because this or that, and then, and this is just in your, like, whatever town you're in.
Because of, like, why would a radio person get mad at you?
Oh, I don't know, because somebody else was cooler that month, or you forgot to ask them for, political stuff. Like, you forgot to ask them for advice on your new single, and they were slighted.
So, like, a radio station would get mad at you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, the local radio DJs, they have their own miniature kingdoms, and, if you didn't say, hey, dude, check out the track, let me know what you think about the mix, and then they'd be mad at you because you didn't ask about... Or they'd get mad at me because I was working with other bands, and then I wouldn't, Anyway, point is, lots of up and downs, and then you get signed, and then everyone at the label loves you, and then they don't love you, and then you've got to win back their love, and then you put out the record, and then the record's going great, and the record's not going good, and, the single is like, rocketing up the charts, and then it stalls out, and and it just is like this constant up and down of being like, we're about to be heroes, and then our heads are on the guillotine, and then we're about to be heroes, and then our heads are on the guillotine. And we went through 3 or 4 years of that kind of constant up and down.
And I know how hard you guys worked just by the stories that you've told me. like, well, I mean, I didn't even know how many radio spots you actually did until I hung out in your band rehearsal session on Saturday night and you guys were talking, and you said you were doing like 8 or 10 radio spots a day.
We do 8 or 10 phoners a day. And that would be your day, and then you'd play at night, you know.
And you had, you know, a lot of gigs and some weird gigs, and you had that one 5-year-old birthday party gig.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that one.
Some people in Connecticut won a radio station contest, and the prize for the radio station contest was that we would play at your party. And as it turned out, the people who won the contest were parents, and the party they were having was a party for their 5-year-old, so that's the party we played at. We agreed to do the promo because, like, hey, No Address will play at your party, your house party. We'll, like, show up to your party. And the people who called in and were, like, the 5th caller or whatever, they were having a 5-year-old's birthday, so that's what we did.
That's great.
It was not great. It was terrible. Because we were scary monsters and we were trying to be on our best behavior. But the weekend was great. It was wild. It was both wild, like, you know, playing, and some of these songs, like we were talking about, like that No Address, after we got signed and before we went and made our record, we wrote and demoed, Phil knew the exact number, it was 86 songs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were working we were in it to win it, you know, like we were trying to make it happen. And so some of these songs, we'd never even played them live. Like, all we'd done is, like, wrote them in the practice space, and then I would do pre-pro, me and Phil would do pre-pro, and then we'd record them in my studio at the house. And but we played several of those songs that there's no way we ever played that live. We just demoed it, and you would just, like, muscle memory, like, be like...
From, like, 15 years ago?
Yeah, and someone would be like, oh, what about this one? And you'd be like, I have zero memory of that. And they'd be like, oh, come on. And they'd start playing it and singing it. And I'm like, I have zero memory of that. And they're like, no, come on. And then they'd hit, like, one point in the song, and they're like, oh, like, yeah, no, it's all back. Let's just run it.
Oh,
you know,
my
like,
gosh.
yeah, it was so weird to do.
It was funny for
a
me,
blast.
like, meeting... I mean, I'd met Phil before when I went to your family reunion in Florida a couple years back. But I hadn't met Ben or Bill. Mm-hmm. And so we hung out with them before our show with Petty Nicks on Friday night.
That was also so amazing. We had a great show with Petty Nicks.
At the Oriental Theater.
At the Oriental. And they were nice enough and stuff to come see the show and hang out.
Yeah. And I could hear, like, I've heard Ben's singing voice before because I've listened to your music. Mm-hmm. And I could hear his singing voice in his speaking voice. It's this very, like, kind of sound on top, and it's totally in his speaking voice. It's kind of interesting.
He sounds like he has a very affected voice. Like, when you hear his vocals, you're like, it sounds like it must be
he's
contrived.
Doing a thing when
he's doing a thing.
But no,
he's not at all. That's what his voice sounds like. Yeah.
It was funny playing in front of them. You know, I could see them. You know, they were near the front of the stage. Knowing that you guys have played to like 15,000 people many times.
Yeah, I mean, you know, more sometimes, but yeah, I get your...
What's the biggest number of people?
I think the biggest one was like 21 or 23, something. Yeah, you know, that one time.
And here we are doing one of our, you know,
there were
bigger shows.
200-300 people.
Yeah, to 300 people.
Yeah.
But they seem to like it.
Yeah, they thought it was great, and they were really. It was just great that they were, you know. It was wild playing with those guys. I was just saying. It was such a different thing because we play with such amazing musicians all the time. Like, everyone we play with is like unbelievable.
You guys had a lot of years together, like a lot of intensity.
And that
together.
was a lot of exactly. And that was, you know, and that's maybe what part of the feeling was. But it was just like we would launch into songs, and it was just like it just felt huge in the room, and it was like it was sloppy, but there was just like a size to it.
Interesting.
You know. And Greg Kiddo was nice enough to come drum with us, along with Ian Rollins. And, you know, it was a blast. And we just started cranking tunes, and it was like, well, that sucks. I wouldn't want to do that in front of anybody. But for us in the room, it was like, oh my God, that's like, it's huge. It's just filling up the room, you know?
Was there anything that didn't go the way you expected it to or hoped it would?
No, not really. I mean, you know, we worked on writing a song.
You guys got a demo down on the phone, right?
Yeah, we got a demo down. And the bridge to that song didn't work, and the bridge to the song we wrote did not go the way I wanted it to go.
Oh, okay.
That was the thing that didn't work out. Yeah. No, it was a great weekend.
You know, at drinks on Saturday night, they were a couple of them were saying like, next time we do this something, and I was like, I wonder if this is going to happen again. Like, what is your feeling? You know, because you're all from different parts of the country.
Yeah, it's very hard to do, and everybody's got lives, and you know, like
kids and jobs. And,
yeah. I mean, honestly, we were just doing it for the fun of it. There's no such thing as a comeback or a, you know, how do we make this be a commercially viable thing again? I mean, there's none of that. One thing we kind of talked about off and on, it would be kind of fun, you know, because the record is up on Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff from forever ago. And what we may do is just start re-recording some of our old material and getting it in presentable shape and just start putting it up on those channels with no fanfare, no announcements, and if the people who apparently do still listen to it monthly, the next time they'll check it, there'll just magically be a new song there.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that might be the biggest extent of it, you know, and we may write some new stuff. I mean, who knows? You know, I have to say we really missed our drummer Randy was not able to come. His kids had a tournament of some type, and you know, we really missed him, but you know, so hopefully, you know, but it was great because it was no pressure and no, you know, some of the times we tried to do things, or like I said, in 2009, someone threw money at us and was like, hey, we do these shows, and we were like, I don't want to see any of those people, but I can't say no to that money. And
how long did it take before you kind of got over, you know, how bad it was at the end? I mean, because you're saying 2009. When did it fall apart? When did the plane crash?
2007.
Okay.
Because, yeah, you know, we got dropped into 5, and then through 6 and 7, we were trying to.
Oh yeah, you were trying to get out of your.
We had contract. To get off of the. Yeah. We had to get out of our contract with the original label to go do anything else, and that took well over a year.
And by then
a bunch of stuff had dried up, but we were doing demos and we were doing whatever, and we were just trying to like, you know, pull out of the.
Yeah.
You know, maybe do a water landing or something, and that's where it kind of blew up. Yeah, but yeah, now we're far enough away. My point is, back then it was like there was always a pressure that like maybe this could turn back into something, and now none of that pressure was there because we're far enough away from it, and everyone's old enough, and the style is outdated enough, and all those things that very naturally happen. There was just no. This is just not, you know.
It's just purely for fun.
It's just purely for fun. It's just the joy of being with your friends and playing some music that you wrote.
Yeah.
Which I do with you all the time, but I haven't gotten to do with those guys, and you know, obviously, long time.
There's a lot to be said for doing something without the pressure of any sort of goal, especially in music. You know, like these covers I'm doing lately.
Yeah. Right.
They're fun because I'm not doing them for any strategy.
Right.
Of like, you know, getting myself out there or proving anything to anybody or getting viewers. It's totally for me. It's to make me sing and to make me make stuff.
Right.
And it's
fun. And you can argue, and we talked about a bunch of like what, you know, could we have made this decision different, and should we have not gone on, you know, an opening tour, but it was all like stadiums and stuff, and like should we have stayed in the clubs?
Yeah.
You know, should we have gone home and written another record instead of touring for another 6 months or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
But like when that band actually caught some momentum and caught some people's eyes and ears, and actually when the ball started rolling was when we were still in the phase of it just being a passion project. And like we wanted it to work and stuff, but just the idea of it turning into anything seemed so far away. We were just doing it for the passion of like, let's just try to do the best stuff we can do. And then that caught the attention of management, and then we started talking to some labels, and then we started talking about all this, you know, and then it became all the pressure of how do we make this make money and whatever. But, you know, there was a part of that band that was really divorced from, you know, anything other than like, let's just try to get some good songs written and recorded, you know?
And did you feel that Atlantic pushed you guys into a different sound than you were most passionate about?
I mean, yeah, 100%.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. That wasn't, the record we made wasn't the record we wanted to make. On the other hand, there were versions of that band that, you know, were harder rockin' and all that stuff. You know, but you get so many cooks in the kitchen. I mean, that's the issue with those kind of like things, major label things. You got a lot of cooks in the kitchen. You got the ad people, you got the radio people, you got the financial people, you got your actual producer, you've got everyone in the band, you know, and it's just like, you know, so yes to that, but it was, you know, too many cooks in the kitchen. But yeah, it was just a blast to just hang out. I gotta say though, not changing the subject, the Petty Nick show, regardless of the guys being there, which was so funny because I didn't see them in the audience at all.
They were in front of you.
Really?
They were to my right.
I assumed
they were like 2 rows back. They were on the floor.
I thought for sure they were in the balcony.
No.
I didn't see them the whole time.
Oh my gosh.
That's
I mean,
so
they
funny.
weren't there the whole time, but first
I'm
half
sure
of the
they
show,
weren't. Yeah,
at
yeah,
least,
yeah.
they were standing almost at the front. I mean, not like right up at the stage, but wasn't it funny that there was a barrier in front of the stage?
Yeah,
for the
there's
first
a
time ever?
barrier
Like,
at the Oriole.
like such a rock star. Like, what are people going to be storming the stage?
I know. Although it's nice, you know what I realized though, seeing all the people when they were pushed up, it gave them something to like lean on.
Oh yeah.
And so it was like a more enjoyable experience to be up close to the stage.
True. Yeah.
And I have to say, the Oriental, I think they're trying to go by the O now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite places in Denver to play. I don't know what it is about that room. It's just got vibe. You know, it just, maybe it's not the best sounding room. Maybe it's not the biggest, you know, whatever. But it just is like that. It
looks cool. It just looks cool, and it's old.
It feels like a theater. And when you walk out on stage in front of that
Nice
crowd,
big stage,
it feels like you're doing a theater show.
Yeah, well, it's got all those levels and then the balcony.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
But how did you feel about the show? I thought
Pretty good. My voice was good.
Yeah.
I felt like the show before that, my voice was not in the right place. But my voice was pretty good. We had a couple of flubs in terms of like endings or something. Like we went a little long.
Yeah, there were things that shouldn't have. Yeah. But you know.
But I mean, we're used to it being like last summer we played at least every week or so, and so you know we got really tight, and so we just have only played a couple of shows in the last 2 months. So
yeah, with it being
we got
winter,
a little rusty.
Yeah.
But I thought it was a great show. It was an exhausting weekend though, for both of us, because I had the conference for the International Voice Teachers of Mix.
Right.
International Voice Teachers of Mix.
Which you emceed.
Yeah.
The conference.
Yeah.
Of the International Voice Teachers of Mix. You weren't just attending.
Yeah, from the music room.
Well, yeah.
You know, it's an online conference.
Virtual. Yeah,
but it was cool. I mean, there were people from all around the world. There's quite a contingency from Europe, Poland. We had a South Korean member. There's a member from South Africa. There's this. It's not an enormous organization, but it's widespread. It's pretty cool. And everybody always talks about how positive the energy is. You know, there's several vocal organizations, even just in the U.S., and there are more around the world. And I can't speak from first person about any of them, but from what I've heard from a few people is that there's a bit of a sense of maybe, I don't even want to use the word snobbishness, but a kind of maybe a standoffishness or an academic, how competitive maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But IFTOM is very welcoming and very encouraging. And there's a big focus on vocal science and like anatomics.
I overheard some of it.
Anatomy and physiology.
Yeah.
And the idea behind this organization was to bring together voice teachers, voice scientists, and medical professionals so that we can all learn from each other. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times ENTs know the anatomy but don't know the voice science or the actual singer's habits. Or the voice scientist knows the acoustic properties and all this sciencey stuff but doesn't know so much about the use of the muscles
application, yeah,
or the singer's application. Yeah. And the singing teachers often know how to teach but don't know the science or enough of the anatomy.
That is fascinating. I've never
it's
that's wild.
Really cool. And I also love it because it's very open to modern styles. There are screamers, there are hard rock singers. Found a new band that's pretty cool. One of the members is in this band called it begins with an F and then another F. But I looked up a video. It's very Imagine Dragons.
Oh.
Great singer. Anyway, so really welcoming community and encouraging of all genres, classical to hard rock and beyond. So. Which
is a big deal. When you started teaching voice, not the only, but one of the reasons you started teaching was because no one was teaching, or not no one, but it was hard to find people who really knew in depth how to teach contemporary.
Yeah, and it's not like I started teaching with an in-depth knowledge of it. I was just like, well, I'm not finding anyone, at least local,
right?
Who is teaching me to sing the way I want to sing or respecting the music I'm trying to sing. That was a big part of it, like feeling like I was less than because I had a job in a cover band,
right?
Where I was singing songs. Maybe I didn't like all of them, but I had to sing them. Like I'm doing some Journey, I'm doing some, I don't know, Jessie J or whatever. And I couldn't hit those high notes, and the classical teachers were like, "Why are you even doing this?" And I'm like, "Well, because I'm getting paid to. So let's move ahead."
Because I want to do music that people are going to want to listen to.
So anyway, emceed the conference, which means introducing people. I also made the title cards. I played the music in between the sessions, welcomed people in and out. So that was 4 hours on Friday, up until the moment I had to leave for the gig. Then I drank too much at the gig and woke up feeling horrible the next morning, got right back on 8 a.m. to start emceeing that conference again.
Yeah, I felt so bad.
And then that went for 8 hours that day. And then I joined. Oh, and then I went straight to teen band rehearsal.
Yeah, and then you came straight and hung
out with you guys. And then I got up and the conference started at 7 a.m. the next day. And then that went for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Phew.
I know.
So, long weekend.
Yeah, it was a crazy one. And then I had recording sessions Sundays. We jammed all day. Yeah. Gig. Started early on Saturday, played all day.
Yeah.
Went out again, and then recording Sunday.
And then back at it today, some lessons, and I worked on the IFTOM website a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I also rebuilt that, and now people are starting to use it since we have the conference and we showed them the new website. So I'm tired. I wasn't super productive today, but...
I have not gotten more than 5 hours of sleep in 4 or 5 days.
Oh.
It's been...
Boy. Well, maybe we should wrap it here then.
We can wrap it here. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, Justin did a band reunion.
I did a band reunion. Adrienne...
I did a conference.
Did a conference.
See you guys next week.